Hi everyone. Great to be here. Great to run this webinar on what's business intelligence. And to start with, let me share the presentation so you can see the slide deck. Just a second. Hope it works. Today we're going to talk about what is business intelligence and how to switch from unstructured data to informed and data-driven decisions. Few words about me. My name is Maria. I'm head of marketing and sales at OWOX BI, and today I will be the speaker at this webinar. Few words about OWOX. For those of you who are listening to our webinar for the first time and don't know us yet, we implement GA360 and Google BigQuery for projects of different sizes and business domains. So if you have any questions, feel free to ask after the webinar, or right now on the right side, there is a chat where you can ask questions. We develop unique online services based on Google BigQuery that help you combine data from different systems in Google BigQuery so you can evaluate the efficiency of your advertising campaigns and bring all data together. We are not an agency, we don't sell ads, so we are not interested in the biased ad budget evaluation, and our main goal is to help our clients make right decisions in reasonable time. There are some companies we work with. I'm sure there are familiar logos, and maybe one day one of you will be there too. So today we're going to talk about what is business intelligence, how to get started with business intelligence, how to visualize the data that you get, and how to apply the results. Before we move forward, let me tell a few important things. First, the recording of the webinar and the slide deck will be available by the end of the week in your inbox, together with other useful materials. If you have any questions regarding the webinar or products or Google Analytics or Google Tag Manager, feel free to ask them on the right in chat or in the comments below the video. And a small spoiler, we're not going to talk and compare different BI systems that are available on the market today, but I'll show you how you can start with a low budget and what results it can bring you. So first, what is business intelligence? We've run several questionnaires for our clients and for our colleagues and for our partners, and most of them try to give their definition of business intelligence. By the way, if you want to share your opinion on what business intelligence is, you can write it on the right in chat once again. So we've asked all of them what is business intelligence for them and what business intelligence should do, what it should provide. And if we include word insights, we'll get these marks: all touch points, decision-making, purchases, sales funnel, confirmed orders, sales sequences, acquisition channels. You can see so many of them here. So basically, it's not one single thing that you can call BI. It's a system that will allow you to bring answers to the questions and calculate main KPIs of any business easily without a headache. So, if we talk about sales funnel, you can see it here as one of the tags. Ideal sales funnel looks like, before the website, on the website, and after the website. We have some inputs, we spend money on the advertising, and we have some output, we get some revenue. So we run online campaigns, online and actually offline campaigns that bring customer to the website. They are visiting the website, and we track that in analytics services. And also we have sales and customers data in our CRM or ERP system. For most of us, it's quite difficult to bring all these systems together and find the correlation between one changes and other changes. What I want to outline here, that these three systems are essential. There can be way more than these three. There can be competitors' prices. There can be market share. There can be many different things like customer data, for instance, third-party data. These three are essential for the analysis. And even with these three, we're struggling bringing them together. And that was an ideal idea of the sales funnel. But if we take a look at the real sales funnel, we have input and we have output. We have online campaigns and offline campaigns that we run, and we have sales that we see in CRM or ERP system. For most of us, what happens in between is magic. Why is it this way? Because orders can be made online or offline. Orders can be made via the cell phone. Orders can be made through the form on the website. Orders can be made through the blank, not blank, but the form in the store, chat on the website. So you have all those touch points with the client and all those sources of orders where a customer can come from. And some of them get mistracked because of the analytics system imperfection or implementation problems. Some of them can be missed because there is no proper integration between CRM and ERP. And let's be honest, even if we track everything perfectly in analytics system, let's say Google Analytics, there is still be some not considered things, such as order completion rate. So if we're talking about the real sales funnel, it brings us a lot of questions, how to consider all that and how to be sure that while analyzing the efficiency of our advertising, we really, think and we really work with our real sales. This brings us to the BI objectives. First, we need to collect information about the customer journey, no matter where was it, online, offline, mobile apps. Collect information about the sales, what we've sold, what was the order, what were the products in the order, was this order completed or not. We have to evaluate the efficiency of advertising channels and re-evaluate and redistribute advertising budget. There is one task that's more important and more difficult than other one, is to measure the efficiency based on the influence of advertising channels on the customer journey. Why it's so important? If you currently work with position-based attribution models such as first click, last click, you probably have noticed that some of the channels get underestimated and some of them are overestimated, because these models don't consider the impact of each channel and of each session on the sales funnel and sales journey of the user. They only consider the position of that traffic source in the funnel. But I'll tell you more about that later. By the way, feel free to share what models you use in comments. How to get started. Here, I'll show you the data flow that our clients use and that we find the most cost-effective and the most easy to implement for most of the businesses. So all of you have a website or mobile app, and you track what's going on in Google Analytics. And you use advertising channels, and you have some costs there. If you are good in GA, you've probably set up an automated import of AdWords data into Google Analytics, but not all of you know that you can easily import cost data for other ad services in Google Analytics automatically. And you can do that absolutely for free, so no reason not to try. You can go to our website, try the free trial version or a start package that is free that will allow you to import cost data for Facebook, Bing, and Yahoo into Google Analytics. And we are currently working on the Criteo integration. So you'll be able to see cost data for all of those sources in your GA account automatically in the cost analysis report. So now in GA you have data about customer on-site behavior and advertising costs, and that's already a lot, right? But you still don't have data about the orders, phone calls, and all that. Some of the call tracking systems, they have integration with Google Analytics, but it doesn't allow you to analyze it the way you want it, because you are limited by the interface of the product. So what we recommend here is to export data from Google Analytics into Google BigQuery or any other big data system, preferably cloud. If talking about Google Analytics, you can do that in 3 different ways. At least I know 3 different ways. First, you can use integration for a GA360 clients if you're lucky enough to be GA360 client, since they have native integration between GA and Google BigQuery. Another way is to use APIs, export data from Google Analytics, and import it back into BigQuery. Downsides here that the data still will be aggregated and you'll have to automate it and you have to work with APIs. But if your team is technical enough and you're okay with aggregated data, that's probably a way to go. And the last but not the least is using OWOX BI. Yeah, a bit of advertising here, but it works. So you go again to our website where you can check it for free and give it a try. And you set up integration between Google Analytics and Google BigQuery. It will bring your GA data in nearly real time in Google BigQuery on a hit level in a raw format without sampling and without aggregation, so you can work with data there. Downside here, to work with the data, you have to know the SQL. I mean, it's a downside for all 3 options. Since the data will be stored in BigQuery, you have to work with it somehow. What can be done is creating preset queries and using them for your reports. So now in BigQuery, we have data about customer on-site behavior and about advertising costs. The next step is to bring their data about call tracking or from call tracking. If you don't use call tracking, you can bring data about phone orders there. And you still can match it with data from the website if you have customer identification number. And now you can bring their data from CRM or ERP. So you can consider order completion rate, offline orders, and all that. Or you can also bring customer information and use it for personalization and emails. You process data in BigQuery either for attribution or for lifetime value calculation or for RFM analysis. So many ways to use it and so many ideas how to utilize the data once you have it, in one system, free to access. But, working with BigQuery, you just play with numbers. Sometimes you need to build the report that you can share with colleagues. And you can visualize data from BigQuery in Data Studio, in Google Sheets, in Smart Data, in Power BI, in Tableau, ClickView. If you use any enterprise-level visualization system, most likely it will have integration with BigQuery. If you don't use any enterprise-level visualization system, try Google Data Studio since it's free now. And if you want something, simple and familiar, just work with Google Sheets. A few slides later, I'll show you the add-on that allows you to pull data directly from BigQuery into Google Sheets. Okay, so here is a screenshot from the interface where you can see the list of automated pipelines. Here you can see data from Facebook flowing into GA, data from GA flowing into BigQuery, data from BigQuery flowing back into GA. Why would you need these pipelines, for instance? you've calculated lifetime value of the customer and you want to use it for AdWords retargeting. You might want to import this lifetime value back into Google Analytics and use it as a segment, or build segment based on this data and build segment for the retargeting in AdWords. So yeah, just give it a try. Moving forward, if talking about not the data collection, but the data processing, here is one of the examples what can be done. Here are calculations for the funnel-based attribution. As you can see, there are 5 different steps. We delete one step, and we calculate the step conversion rate, the probability of the customer converting from this step to another, and the value which should be attributed for the passing of this step. The model is completely customizable. You can adjust steps the way you want it. I'll show a demo later. If talking about data visualization, we basically here brought everything together. And now the next question is, how to use it. So how to visualize the data that we've got. As I said, there are so many different services that can be built, that can be used to visualize data from Google BigQuery. For instance, Data Studio, Tableau, ClickView, Chartio, Clipfolio. And if you ask what's the difference between what we do and what do those services do, first, we help bring data together in BigQuery, and this data is in your project in BigQuery. You have access to it at any time, and you can visualize it the way you want it. We, you can just basically use it for the data collection. Another thing that's different that other services don't provide, we have our own attribution model that considers the impact of each session on the customer way to the sales funnel. And yes, we also do visualization, but this visualization is based on the model of your data, and you don't need to write queries to work with it. You can ask questions just in English or Russian. I'll show you how it works in a couple of slides. If again talking about the visualization, today I'm gonna stop at 3 different services. It's gonna be Google Sheets, Data Studio, and Smart Data. So if talking about BigQuery Reports add-on, it's probably the easiest and the simplest way to work with it. So here you have an add-on. You can open the OWOX BI BigQuery Reports add-on and edit the report or create a new one. I prefer, I want to edit this report that we have here. I select the project, I select the query. There are some of the preset queries here. I select dynamic parameters that were predefined in the query. For instance, here it could be brand, product, SKU, category name, product name, or purchase date. And I also can change the time frame without editing a query directly. But in case I want to change something, I can click edit here. And here I see the whole query. And I can run it, or I can edit, or I can delete it. And here I can see how much of the data will be processed in order to complete this query. So you can approximately estimate the price. If you want, you can also schedule the firings of the report. Here you can see, just give a second while it loads. You can schedule how often you want to fire it. For instance, every day from 6 a.m. to 8 a.m. So by the time you're at work, the report is already ready. And if it failed, you might want to get the notification. Or you want to get a notification on every update. And you have to confirm that you understand pricing policy of Google BigQuery, since it charges you for the resources that were used for storing and for data processing. So that's one of the options, first and very simple. Another option that I want to show today is, before we switch to that, the pros and cons of this approach. The structure of the report is up to you. You basically pull all the parameters and metrics you want to see in the report. You can process terabytes of data in seconds from the familiar and flexible interface of Google Sheets. You're protected with two-step authorization, and if you want to share the document, you can do it with, once again, familiar Google accounts. What are the downsides? You have to know SQL. And if you export more than 100,000 values into Google Sheets, it will slow down. No built-in notifications if the value goes higher than you've expected. Basically, there are no alerts, but you can use the app script. Moving to the next tool. So it's Google Data Studio. You can't raise your hands on the webinar, so those of you who have tried it, please share your thoughts in chat and share, what was your experience working with Google Data Studio. It's a pretty convenient tool if you want not only to work with data, but to build compelling reports. So here are the sample reports that I want to show you today. This one is dedicated for the merchandising, and you can see here the revenue and how it changed comparing to the last month. The number of purchases, ads, clicks, and conversion click-through rate. You can see what was the revenue by each of the product lists, for instance, main catalog or favorite products, viewed products, etc. And you can analyze from which product lists products were added to the cart and how it changed again comparing to the previous month. You can see all the main KPIs for each list. And here's another example available in this report is the share, like several charts. On the first one, you can see what was the share of traffic depending on the availability of the product. So we see that there were more than 100,000 products available and about 50,000 not available products. And it's too early to say if it's good or bad unless you compare what was the revenue from the visit depending on the product availability status. So you can see what was the ROAS of each campaign that led to the unavailable product. If talking about Google Data Studio itself, it's very simple to edit the reports, very intuitive. You can just drag and drop whatever you want. It's easy to copy, easy to share. If you haven't tried working with it yet, I recommend you do. It's free for everyone. And if you don't know how to get started, check out our webinar in the playlist on Google Data Studio. If talking about the downsides and pros of the Google Data Studio, first, it's non-technical interface. It's easy for everyone to use. As I said, very intuitive. It's easy integrated with Google products, so you can pull data from YouTube, for instance. It can be simply shared with a Google account. It's free. As for the cons, you can't calculate a metric based on the parameters from different sources. So if you want to consider several numbers that are located in different sources to calculate one parameter, you won't be able to do that. But what you can do is bring that data in Google BigQuery, calculate it there, and after that pull it for the report. It's currently unavailable for some countries, but you don't need to, you can use VPN to get started with it, and you don't need to use VPN all the time. You just need it when you connect the data source. And the last but not the least, the product is still being developed, so you may run into some bugs. But it's a pretty nice product to build reports and dashboards for the company. If talking about OWOX BI Smart Data, that's our answer to the visualization and what we've built here. We've heard so many times from the C-level executives that they don't know how to write SQL, or they don't have time to work with different tables and check how the data is connected and associated. And they have very simple questions that are connected to what's going on with business. So we've developed OWOX BI Smart Data that allows you to ask questions to your data and get answers instantly. How it works, let me show you. So that is the interface, and you go to the Smart Data module, and you can see some preset reports here on the dashboard, or you can type in your question here. How are revenue and errors distributed to source and medium? It takes a while to load, but you can see the results just in a few seconds. The calculations are made instantly when you click enter. Calculations are made in BigQuery, but you can see them the results here. So there is revenue and errors for each source and medium, and you can see all the main KPIs here. You can filter out some of the values. You can sort them. You can change the date range, or if you know how to work with SQL, you can see the SQL query here, and you can use it to write or to adjust your query in BigQuery. Let's see what's else available here. What was the conversion rate by device and... Sorry, it's still loading. So very simple, no need to know SQL. So yeah, what was the conversion rate by device category in browser at the last 30 days? We see that at the desktop, the highest conversion rate was in Safari and Internet Explorer. That's weird, right? On mobile, there is something wrong with the conversion rate of Chrome. Maybe we should check that. And on tablet, the same thing. There is no data for Opera, Firefox, and so on. You can sort it out by conversion rate or number of sessions to evaluate and find the real problem, or on the other hand, like something good that was going on your website. If talking about the advantages or disadvantages of this approach, first you can ask questions in English, and you have quick access to the unsampled raw data without need to know SQL. It supports Google Analytics structure, so all the metrics and parameters will be familiar for you. You can access the SQL query that has been created automatically to pull the necessary data, as I showed you. You can export data into Google Sheets. Parameters that, as for the disadvantages, parameters that you can use are limited by the structure of the model. So as I said earlier, we built ontology model for the data structure, and all the questions that you can ask, they are limited. But they are limited by the connection between metrics and parameters. So basically, you cannot ask a question that doesn't make sense, or you cannot ask question that doesn't, about parameters that are not connected between them. So that's about the visualization. If you want, as I said, there is a connector for click view for Tableau to Google BigQuery. Give it a try, check it out, share your ideas. If talking about the application of the results, there were several success stories last month that I want to share with you. First was with Hoff. It's a large retailer, internet retailer of household goods, and they managed to increase their PPC advertising ROI by 17% using the approach that I have showed you. What were the main problems for them? The GA couldn't consider canceled orders, offline purchases, gross margin, phone orders, data was sampled, and the cross-device users were mistracked. So all these problems brought them to the understanding that they cannot use last-click attribution in GA. So they decided to build their own BI system and see what they can do. So here is how their data structure looked like. They imported cost data in GA. They sent data from the website to GA and to BigQuery. They sent data from AdWords to GA, and they sent all cost data to BigQuery. They exported data from their ERP system, and they sent data from call tracking system in BigQuery. They had all that there. They've calculated their own attribution model and their own attribution values. They exported the value to Google Cloud Storage and used that in the analytics, its marketing automation system. So that was like the first, like the main idea of the data structure and of their BI system structure. What else important here? What else they've considered? First, they were doing cross-device tracking. For instance, there was one user, Anna. She had 3 different sessions, 2 on the mobile, 1 on the desktop. And first 2 sessions from the mobile device were combined by the client ID. In the second session, she authorized and she got her user ID. And then she authorized on the website and she got her user ID there. So we could match second and third session based on the user ID. The same thing here, but here first session was on the desktop, after that mobile, and after that desktop again. And he also used the loyalty card that they've used later to match his offline purchase with online search. So this allowed them to see the whole path of the customer from like the very first view of the product, from the very first traffic source and campaign that brought customer to the website to their purchase. As I said, the main result, they have increased their PPC advertising ROI by 17%, but besides that, they measured the revenue impact of keywords more accurately. And they found that there are 2.4 times more keywords that help conversion happen. And standard attribution models didn't, consider them. And they discovered that some of the phrases, considering these new phrases, they have more impact on offline purchases than online sales. That's pretty impressive, and they keep working on improving, but the results are already impressive. There is another case with Dorado. They're also Russian retailer, like huge one with online, offline, multi-channel retailer. And they used the system and the approach I showed you earlier to increase their email-driven revenue by 237%. So what they wanted to do, they wanted to analyze advertising efficiency considering gross margin, not only the sales, but gross margin. They wanted to consider lifetime value of the customer and the advertising budget that was spent to acquire that customer for the last 180 days when evaluating a traffic source. They wanted to acquire new visitors with potentially high lifetime value. And of course, as everyone else, they wanted to optimize their advertising spend. So here is a data structure they had. It looks a bit easier. Also, post data import, also data from the website, everything goes to BigQuery. And data from BigQuery goes to the mailing service and to Google Sheets for reporting. Here are the results. So basically, they had email solution before, and we don't provide email solutions. We just provide the data that they use instead of their backend data for email marketing. So as you see, the increase in purchase results from emailings for standard triggered emails increased by 13%. I'm sorry, by 85%. Turnover resulting from emails increased by 237%. Conversion rate increased by 12%. And, to give it a try, you don't need huge investments and you don't need to retag all of your website. You can set up in less than a week. So here we go. The results, the results are here. The next example of the usage I want to show you is connected to the competitor prices. As I said, basically we need 3 systems in the beginning. That's advertising systems and data about costs. That's analytics system and data about customer behavior. And that's CRM systems and data about sales and customers. What else you can use is competitor prices, since they influence customer behavior and on-site conversion rate. Probably the questions you've heard or the questions you've asked are, what is the difference between our prices and competitors' prices? How does the revenue per channel depend on the competitor prices? How does the revenue per category depend on the competitors' prices? Here, the presentation, as I said, will be available after the webinar, so you'll be able to see the blog post and the webinar on price intelligence. And now I'll try to answer how it works and how you can utilize that at your project. So simplified data flow. You send data from Google Analytics into BigQuery via one of the solutions I've told you about, or maybe you can develop your own. You send data from competitive sites. Our partner is Competera, but you can use other solutions. But we work with guys from Competera, and our clients are pretty happy with what they get. You send data from CRM or ERP system into BigQuery, and you get the pricing reports. Here, the easiest way is Google Sheets, but as I said, you can use any of the visualization tools that you like. So first example, we are answering the questions from where did new and loyal buyers come from. As you can see here, we have different campaigns. And here we have 100% of sales from that particular campaign. We're trying to evaluate channels based on what kind of customers they bring us, more or less loyal. If we take a look at the legend here, we can see that dark red shows us the share of the sales that were made even if our price was 30% higher than competitors' prices. And if we take a look at the campaign 7 or 8, we see that they bring us the less loyal customers that mostly buy from us if our prices are way cheaper than the market price. And there are other campaigns like campaign 1 and campaign 3, 4, 5, and 9 that bring us quite a few sales, even if our price is 30% higher than the rest of the market. Note that these campaigns may have equal ROI and equal conversion rate, but if you don't consider the brand value, you might miss this valuable information. Another example is, what is your brand and what is your brand value associated with? here we have different categories and 100% of sales in that category. And again, the deviation from the market price. So we see that, for instance, if customers come for cameras and headphones and laptops, they buy from us if we are cheaper than the market. But if they come for smartphones, TV, fridges, they are ready to buy even if we're more expensive than the market. So that means that we are associated and we're, let's say, reliable in these categories on the market. Again, these reports based on the data from advertising service, analytics system, CRM system, and competitor prices system or price intelligence system. Another case study here is about competitor prices influence. Here we can see the deviation of the price, the share of the deviation, and the conversion rate. We can see different categories. And interesting here that if our price is too low, like 30% lower than the market in category TV, the sales will drop, probably because customers think that there is something wrong with those TVs. But like if it's 10% lower, it's okay. The conversion rate, is higher. And this value differs from category to category because in one categories, customers are more price sensitive, in other they're less price sensitive. That's something interesting to consider and something interesting to evaluate for each business. Another example that can be built on the business intelligence system approach is estimating advertising efficiency. I'll show you the example based on Google Data Studio. As you can see here, that's a summary on ad efficiency. We see the number of users, transactions, revenue, costs, and ROAS. We can see how our sessions distributed by medium and by sources and by device category, and you can drill down and see that just in one system without need to go to different ad systems and analyze and evaluate it there. By the way, once again, there are links at the very bottom of the slide. You'll be able to access them once the presentation is shared. There is another example of utilizing the data in Smart Data. You can see, as an example, how did the revenue change over the last month by day and by source and medium. So here we have sessions, source, medium, and what was the value for each of the days and what was the share of that source and medium each particular day. Another example, I believe I showed you that while I was showing the demo, so you can compare revenue and ROAS by each of the attribution model available in your project for different time slots. So getting back to the business intelligence, especially business intelligence in the e-commerce, if we take a look at particular order, we can see that it could be made, there could be several sessions prior to the order from different sources. You can see that here source medium was Google CPC, but the order was made online. And we often face that for most of the multi-channel businesses, it's a big struggle to prove that not most, but big share of offline orders was made under the influence of online campaigns. So here you can see if there was an online campaign before customer came to the website. You can see session value. You can see what were the steps of customer journey. And you can see all touch points and cross-device. You can see micro conversions. You can see sales funnel. You can see acquisition channels and real sales that you've got. And here is the decision making. You see that session value was almost equally distributed between online session and offline session. So if, bring it all together, business intelligence should help you consider all touch points, all the sessions that you can capture, all devices, no matter if the user uses tablet, mobile phone, laptop, etc., online and offline. For us, there shouldn't be a difference if the sale was made online or offline. We should know and we should consider all of them. We should see a comprehensive funnel from the first touch point to the completed order. And not biased attribution. Values should be distributed between all the sessions that helped customer move through the sales funnels. But the values should be distributed not equally, but according to their influence. So if you want to give it a try and you don't want huge investments, but you want to see what's going on with your business, first make sure that data collection in Google Analytics is set up properly. Import advertisement costs into Google Analytics. As I said, you can do that completely for free. Collect user behavior and transaction data in BigQuery. You can give a try through API of GA, or you can use our trial for that. Import call tracking in BigQuery if you use one. Import CRM and ERP data in BigQuery. It's very important since for some businesses, offline orders, phone orders make like 80% of their sales. And whatever marketeers do online, they still bring some impact on the offline sales. Calculate the value considering each step of the sales funnel and visualize data to find out real value of your ad campaigns, find points of growth, and reallocate your advertising budget. Here are some useful links. They will be available in the presentation. And I want you to invite to our next webinar that will be in the end of June 27th. It will be dedicated to Google Tag Manager. So we'll show how to use custom tags, how to use GTM for content, and many really cool things. So reserve your spot. We'll send you the reminder prior to the webinar. Thank you. Feel free to ask questions in chat. I'll stick here for another couple of minutes. And if you have questions that you come up with later after the webinar, shoot them to mail@owox.com. We're always ready to help and to assist. Hope this webinar was helpful, and thank you for attending. Have a great day.